I mean, I mean, should I say it? Is he gonna say it? Is he gonna? Oh bother!
All of Ashdown will burn.
And today we have, man, I didn't think I'd be here for this. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Everybody's kind of got a different take on this right now. Would you believe I did review Blood and Honey, the first one? Would you also believe that was only like a year and a half ago? But here we are. We went and saw Blood and Honey Part 2, and we were very excited, actually. All things considered, we were excited to see the sequel. I reviewed the first one, and I think it's hot garbage. But I think it's hot garbage that if you plug your nose and just kind of like watch it, and you know it's garbage and accept that.
The good is still in there, Pooh. You can't stop. I know I caused you a lot of pain.
It's so bad it's funny. This one actually have a little bit of a different report to bring in. What's also funny about this is that when we went to go see it, there was a like little several minute intro video from the like director and the lead star of this.
I am also the co-producer with Reese, and this time around I play Christopher Robin, which is nuts. Anyway, we wanted to say thank you so much for coming out and supporting this film. It means the world to us.
Basically, the whole intro video was to kind of outline their, like, it's like their Marvel Phase 1 plan, essentially, is we're working up to something big.
This movie is going to be kickstarting a new universe for us. So we have a variety of films which we'll be filming throughout this year. And some of them are Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare,
Which I'm going to be directing.
We'll be working on Pinocchio Unstrung.
And then we have just actually shot about a month ago now, Bambi the Reckoning by Dan Allen.
All these expiring IPs and properties leading up to, I shit you not, the Poohniverse. There's a whole, like, plan. And you know what? I'm here for it. It's a sick and twisted, like, journey we're all about to go on together. Not even Grindhouse, just low budget, like, sci-fi original film. Just giving the middle finger to Disney and corporations and just making these things for the sake of it. I'm here for the journey. I honestly am. We have the returning director, Reese Frake Waterfield. If you don't already know, obviously he's returning. He's from directing the first Blood and Honey. He also did, I'm pretty sure I talked about these on my previous review. He also is responsible for directing Fire NATO and Sky Monster. So, very prolific filmography, to say the least. And then there's actors in this, but the only one I want to give a shout out to is the main guy who's also in that intro video that I just showed you, but Scott Chambers, who is the future director of the Peter Pan horror film. He plays the recast Christopher Robin in this movie. Here's the thing. I knew what to expect going into this film, and so I tempered my expectations appropriately. It was like when I went to go see Godzilla X Kong, a GXK. I think if you know what to expect, brace yourself, then you'll have a better time. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Leading up to this movie, assuming it was gonna be just a shit show slog, I was excited for it. And I was actually pleasantly surprised. There are two camps that have formed now in relation to this movie. And both camps are completely understandable. Literally, our friend group was divided. Yes, what a hot topic this movie is, apparently. There's the people that are in this group that say Blood and Honey 2 is, they hate it, it's terrible. The first one worked so well because it was bad. It was it's like The Room, right? It was so bad, it was good and funny.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
And it was ultra low budget, not great effects. Just you're in for a good laugh, dumb fun, no effort, no attempt at a story or cohesive writing, and that's what made it great. That's one camp. The one that I'm into is that I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the effort that's been put into 2, and I like what they're trying to do. personally. I still enjoyed the first one, but it's such a uninspired slog. And with this one, they redesigned like Winnie the Pooh and company, so it's not just a guy in a dumb mask, but there's like a blend of effects and whatnot. Let's not talk about Tigger's tail or anything, but that notwithstanding, they literally did what, by my own definition, a good sequel's supposed to do. They added more characters, they expanded the lore and the universe, and just made more of an attempt. So in my opinion, I liked it better than the first one. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm losing it. Believe me, no delusions of grandeur right here. I get this film is not an Oscar winner. It's not gonna make top 10 for the year, I promise you. And it's not a great movie. But going into it knowing exactly what you're expecting, it's actually, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time. So I think they actually had a budget this time. So characters look better. The actors are all better. They're not all fantastic, but the guy they recast for Christopher Robin, I mean,
How are you feeling?
Good, I think.
he put his whole chambussy, sure, his scatussy, chambussy. It was a good time, and the direction, by the way, like a lot of this film, kind of dark, sure. Funny enough, actually decent lighting in a lot of shots, and the cinematography was pretty good throughout, and the violence, it was never too shaky on the camera. I mean, the effects sometimes were still kind of lowbrow or like CG, but a lot of practicality, plenty of people like, broken bones, cuts, stabs, comical stabs, melting, creative kills, just rough kills. Like, they just kind of like upped the ante. Kind of worked for me. They add in this lore, the heavy inspiration taken from other horror franchises out there.
I've been very much inspired by the Black Phone and French cinema such as Inside, Switchblade Romance. They've been favourites of mine for years and years and years.
They try to make Christopher Robin and his family and like story. Low key, they retcon the first movie, which I think is a smart idea. People are really ragging on him for it. I think like all things considered, it's a decent direction. Like nobody got upset when the Scream movies had the stab movies, like the movie within the movie, or like, oh, the events of that were actually part of this film. It's what this movie did. Blood and Honey 2 is technically the first one, because they're saying the Blood and Honey movie is an in-universe film that was made by like the Hollywood producers after what was called the 100 Acre Massacre happened. So Christopher Robin still survived that, and it's not exactly like we see in that in-universe movie, but it's something probably similar and just as traumatic. And so Christopher Robin survives, but then people assume he did it because they're like, oh, there aren't any mutated creatures in the woods. There are some believers, but now it's a movie that starts us off where Christopher Robin, this is ridiculous, is struggling to live in a society that does not like him or want to accept him because they think that he killed a bunch of people in the woods, basically. So I was a fan of that choice. I didn't mind them retconning the first one because, you know what? I didn't like the first one. I mean, it's funny and I'll watch it with friends, but I don't like the movie. But this one, as I said, practical effects, it is violent and hilarious. It is stupid, sure, in parts, and sometimes characters don't make the best decisions, shocker there, and sometimes, like, where a kill happens in proximity to where other people are and could have intervened or stopped it. Someone brings in a gun into a situation and only has like 2 bullets in it. And really, it's just a montage of the 100 Acre Wood critters killing people, all leading up to a rave where some of the best kills happen, honestly. But you know what? I'm here for it. I'm in for the journey. I'm in for this Poohniverse. It's gonna be schlocky, and it's gonna be like cheesy and campy and dumb and violent. Very violent, by the way. Director said they had to cut like several kills from the final 20 minutes of this film. But if this is what these films are gonna be now, which is actually like decently funded or crowd-funded CG and practical effect jaunts through like my childhood, just taking these IPs at public domain and just like smearing poo-poo in their face and being like, legally you can't get us, we're gonna take all of your properties, Steamboat Willie coming in next. This is gonna be a dumb fun ride, and I like to consider myself a well-rounded fellow when it comes to cinema, as you can see here. So I love great films, I love bad films, I love dumb fun films at this point in my life. So this specific strain of it though, and they're very aware of what they're doing. There's references in the movie, and they're making these films for the fans and the audience and for everybody just to have a fun time. And I can imagine filming these films was in itself had to have been fun. I get to the cons now, right? It is still a bad movie. It's still a bad movie, man. It's not great, but it's entertaining. It's fun. Not all the effects are great either. As I said, they're better than they were in the first one. They're practical when they can be. They're still awkward in CGI sometimes in this. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's an improvement. It's a step in the right messy direction. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. And then I know that I praised the guy who was Christopher Robin. He really tries to give it his all, but in terms of the whole cast, acting is fairly inconsistent across the board. There are some good little performances here and there, some decent ones, some not great or barely legible ones. It's really a mixed bag of varying degrees of skill or lack thereof in acting, but also inconsistent characters of plot and narrative. There is an attempt here. There's backstory, flashbacks, character development, universe building, creature building. They are trying to do a lot here, and people that were just in for some brain dead, brain rot, dumb fun might actually be disappointed by all the effort being put in. I recognize the effort. I like it. It made for an interesting watch, albeit sometimes scenes dragged out for the exposition to take place. It's all still kind of inconsistent and doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense all together. I mean, it does in a very like Resident Evil kind of way, but it's just messy. And you just gotta, I don't know, you gotta be okay with that. It's not gonna be airtight. Look, at the end of the day, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 it's dumb fun. I liked it a lot, so much better than the first movie. I'm down for this crazy wild journey. I would watch this again. I would do a marathon, especially when these all come out, all leading up to our own little bloody Disney Endgame or whatever. In a weird way, I don't recommend this movie to a lot of people because a lot of people are not going to enjoy this. You have to be kind of messed up in the head like moi. But if you're down for this bastardization of IP properties and just a violent for the sake of violent, bloody, gory, heffalumps and woozles time, and this whole little cinematic Pooniverse, you'll be in for a treat. All that being said, I would give Blood and Honey 2 a high, what's he gonna say? A high 3 out of 5. I'd give it a high 3 out of 5, which I think is substantially a higher rating than the first movie. It's above average as far as films go. Factoring in quality of a film, the quality is not like ding 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 now up super duper up there, right? But it's much more quality packed into this one than in its predecessor. But in terms of personal enjoyment, I was laughing all the way up to the 2 words Pooh utters at the very end. I was enjoying myself. I had a good time. I was laughing with friends. We were goofing around, just watching the violence and the jump scares and the schlock ensue. So between the quality that was there and my personal enjoyment, I consider it an above average film and experience overall, and I will probably review all of them as they come out. That's all I got to say about Blood and Honey Part 2. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. Goodbye.